Emily's eyes fluttered open, her breath fogging in the air as an icy chill settled over her. Something was wrong. This wasn't her room. She sat up abruptly, her heart hammering. The bed beneath her was too large, the blankets too heavy, and the sheets smelled like dust and something faintly rotten. A sharp contrast to the fresh lavender her mother always sprinkled on her pillow at home. "Mom?" she called out, her voice small in the vast silence. No answer. Her fingers dug into the unfamiliar quilt as she scanned the room. Dim light leaked through a half-open curtain, illuminating walls draped in faded wallpaper, its floral patterns peeling like dried skin. An ancient chandelier hung from the ceiling, its once glorious crystals now dulled with grime. The air smelled stale, like an attic long forgotten. Emily slid off the bed, her bare feet meeting the icy wooden floorboards. A shiver ran down her spine. "Dad?" She tried again, her voice quivering. Still silence. Then music. A slow, eerie lullaby drifted through the air, its notes hollow and metallic, as if played by an unseen music box. Emily turned sharply, her gaze locking onto the only piece of furniture in the room besides the bed. A large, antique mirror. It stood in the farthest corner, its surface clouded with age. The frame was carved with strange, twisting vines, their patterns almost resembling a face's. Frozen, silent screams. She swallowed hard. I must be dreaming," she murmured, hugging herself. She stepped toward the tall window, fingers trembling as she reached for the latch. Locked. Panic flared in her chest. This wasn't right. This wasn't home. She turned back toward the bed, her breath coming faster. Okay, maybe I sleepwalked? Maybe I... Her voice cut off as she caught movement in the mirror. Her own reflection. Only it was a second too slow. Emily froze. The mirror Emily hadn't turned yet. A chill that had nothing to do with the cold crawled up her spine. Slowly, her reflection lifted its lips into a grin. Emily hadn't smiled. Her legs locked in place, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. The reflection tilted its head, staring at her with wide, unblinking eyes. Then, in a whisper that didn't belong to her, it spoke. "Emily, why did you come back?" The room lurched. The air thickened, pressing against her chest. A shadow moved behind her reflection. Emily spun around, but the room behind her was empty. She turned back to the mirror. The reflection was normal again. Just a frightened little girl staring back at her. She was shaking now, her fingers clutching the hem of her nightgown. The lullaby faded, swallowed by the silence. Emily backed away from the mirror, her breath sharp and uneven. The air felt different now, heavier, like the room was watching her. Then footsteps, soft, slow, somewhere beyond the door. She whirled toward the sound, her pulse a deafening roar in her ears. A faint knock echoed through the room. Knock, knock, knock. Emily held her breath. The handle twisted, and the door creaked open. Emily stood frozen, her breath hitching in her throat. The mirror loomed in the dim light, its tarnished surface reflecting back a frightened girl in a white nightgown. But something was wrong. Her reflection wasn't moving with her. Emily blinked rapidly, her heart hammering. Maybe it was a trick of the dim lighting. Maybe she was still half asleep. She lifted a trembling hand. Her reflection didn't. A breath shuddered out of her. Then, slowly, deliberately, her reflection smiled. Emily's stomach twisted. Her lips were pressed into a thin, terrified line. But in the mirror, her other self's mouth stretched too wide, too unnatural, too wrong. The mirror Emily tilted her head. Then it spoke. "Emily." A sharp gasp ripped from her throat. The voice had been soft, whispery, but it had come from the mirror. Not inside her head. Not in the room. From inside the glass. She stumbled backward, her heel catching the edge of the rug. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. "Who?" Her voice cracked. "Who are you?" The mirror didn't answer. The reflection lifted a hand and beckoned. Emily shook her head violently. No. No way. Her whole body screamed at her to run, to leave, to get out of this cursed room. but something pulled at her. Not physically. Something inside her chest. A deep, unnatural pull. She took a step forward. The reflection's grin widened. Another step. Emily's fingers tingled, her breath coming in short, uneven gasps. She was standing directly in front of the glass now, close enough to see the faint cracks running through its frame, the dust speckling its surface. Her own face, or what should have been her face, stared back. Eyes too dark, too hollow. Then movement. Emily stiffened. Behind her reflection, a shadow stirred. Someone else was there. But no, that was impossible. She was alone. Her hands turned ice cold. She didn't want to turn around. She couldn't. The reflection. Emily lifted a hand. Not to wave, not to beckon, but to point. At something behind her. Emily's heart clenched. The mirror flickered, like an old TV screen struggling to hold a signal. And then she saw her. A little girl standing behind her in the mirror. Emily sucked in a breath, whirling around. Nothing. She turned back to the glass. The girl was still there. Emily's pulse thundered in her ears. The girl in the mirror was about her age, pale, fragile-looking, with dark, hollow eyes. Her dress was old-fashioned, yellowed with age, torn at the sleeves. Bare feet, dirty, thin. A strangled whisper left Emily's throat. Who are you? The girl's lips trembled. Her eyes filled with tears. Then, her voice cracked, soft, broken, pleading. Help me. Emily's blood ran cold. The girl lifted shaking hands, pressing them against the glass as though trying to break through. Her tiny fingers left smudges on the surface, but only inside the mirror. Emily stepped back, shaking her head. I don't understand. A tear rolled down the girl's cheek. Then, the reflection. Emily moved again. Her expression changed. She wasn't smiling anymore. She was staring at the crying girl. And she wasn't happy. The air grew thick, heavy, as if the whole room was holding its breath. The mirror. Emily reached out toward the girl. Her fingers wrapped around the girl's wrist inside the glass. The little girl in the mirror let out a strangled sob. Emily gasped. Stop! Let her go! The reflection. Emily's eyes snapped back to her. And then she lunged. Emily screamed. The lights flickered wildly. Wind. Where was wind coming from? Rushed through the room, knocking over a small vase on the dresser. Emily staggered back, her breath ragged. The reflection. Emily had slammed her hands against the glass, her face twisted in rage. Emily's stomach twisted. The crying girl was fading, like she was being pulled away, dragged into darkness. Her wide, frightened eyes locked onto Emily's. Please, help me. Then the mirror cracked. A deep, jagged fissure tore across its surface, running right between the two figures. Emily yelped, stumbling back onto the cold floor. Silence. Her ears rang. Her chest heaved. The wind was gone. The music had stopped. The mirror was still. Emily didn't move. Couldn't move. Had she imagined it? Her shaking fingers dug into the wooden floorboards as she forced herself to look up. The mirror was cracked, but intact. Her reflection was back to normal. No twisted smiles. No little girl. Just her. Tears burned in her eyes. What was happening to her? She needed to get out of here. Now. Emily scrambled to her feet, her legs wobbling beneath her. She turned for the door. And then, a single sound made her entire body freeze. A small, distant sob, coming from inside the mirror. Emily's breath came in short, frantic gasps as she bolted from the room. Her bare feet slapped against the wooden floorboards, her nightgown billowing behind her. She didn't care where she was running. She just needed to get away from that mirror. The hallway stretched endlessly before her, swallowed in shadows. Where was she? Whose house was this? She choked back a sob. Mom? Dad? No answer. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. The air smelled of dust and something old, something forgotten. The walls were lined with faded wallpaper, peeling at the edges. Framed paintings hung crookedly, their subjects' faces faded and eerie, as if time had stripped them of their identities. Emily shivered, felt like the house was watching her. A cold draft slithered past her, sending a chill down her spine. The air was thick with silence, but not empty silence. A whisper, soft, distant, Emily froze, came from the walls. Her fingers clenched. Her throat went dry. She took a hesitant step forward, the wooden floor groaning beneath her weight. The house felt abandoned, yet alive. She needed to get out. A staircase loomed ahead, spiraling downward into darkness. A second hallway branched off to her right, lined with closed doors. Which way? Then footsteps. Above her. Emily's blood ran cold. Someone was upstairs. Slow, measured, heavy. Her breath hitched. She wasn't alone. The realization made her knees go weak. She backed up, her spine pressing against the cold wooden wall. Was it the girl from the mirror? Was it something worse? She squeezed her eyes shut. Wake up, wake up, wake up, she whispered. But this wasn't a dream. Another thud from above. Emily darted down the hallway, her instincts screaming at her to move. The house was huge, endless, suffocating. Doors lined the corridor, each one shut tight, their brass handles cold and tarnished. She yanked at the nearest one. Locked. Another. Locked. Her chest ached. Her hands trembled. Something was wrong with this place. She skidded to a halt at a grand, arched doorway at the end of the hall. The double doors were slightly ajar, revealing a vast, dust-covered room beyond. Emily pushed them open. A gust of cold air rushed past her. Her stomach twisted. A grand hall. Once it must have been beautiful. A massive chandelier hung from the ceiling, its crystals draped in thick cobwebs. The furniture, massive wooden chairs, sofas, and tables, were all covered in white sheets, like the house had been left behind. Forgotten. Emily's voice trembled. Hello. Her whisper vanished into the emptiness. Something creaked behind her. She whirled around. Nothing. But then a whisper. Clearer this time. Emily. She sucked in a sharp breath. It knew her name. Panic clawed at her throat. She backed away and bumped into something. She gasped, spinning around. Covered statue. Emily exhaled shakily, pressing a hand to her chest. Her heartbeat felt like it would explode. She was losing it. A sudden movement to her left. A shadow. Small. Quick. Emily sprinted through the hall, her feet slipping against the dust-coated floor. The whispers grew louder, swirling around her, voices overlapping. Get out. Help her. Run. Tears burned her eyes. Who were they? She reached another corridor. The house was a maze. The walls felt tighter here, the air stale and suffocating. Then she saw it. At the end of the hallway, a door. Unlike the others, this one was different. Ancient, heavy, and locked. A symbol was carved into the wood, deep and jagged. Emily's stomach clenched as she traced it with her fingers. A circle with sharp lines intersecting at odd angles. It felt wrong to look at, like it didn't belong in this world. Another gust of cold air whispered past her. Emily pressed her ear to the door. Silence. Then a soft scratching sound. From the other side. Emily jerked back, her hands trembling. Something was in there. Or someone. Her mind raced. The girl. Could she be trapped behind this door? Emily's fingers tightened around the handle. She had to know. She tried to twist it, but it wouldn't budge. She shoved her weight against the wood. Come on. Still locked. The scratching grew louder. Then, a single knock. Emily's breath hitched. Then another. Slow. Deliberate. Her legs locked. Then a whisper. Don't open it. Emily spun around so fast she nearly tripped. The voice had come from right behind her. But the hallway was empty. She pressed her back to the door, her pulse hammering. Something was here. Watching. The whispers had stopped. The footsteps had gone silent. The house had gone still. Emily forced herself to breathe. She had to be brave. She had to figure out what was happening. One thing was certain. This wasn't just a house. It was something else. And it didn't want her to leave. Emily's fingers trembled as she yanked open the drawer. Dust swirled into the air, making her cough. The wood creaked, resisting, as if it hadn't been touched in decades. Her eyes widened when she saw it. An old, leather-bound diary. Its edges were frayed, the pages yellowed with time. The cover had a name scratched into it, barely legible under the layers of dust. Margaret. Emily swallowed hard. Who was Margaret? She glanced over her shoulder, making sure she was still alone. The house was too quiet, unnaturally quiet. She flipped open the first page, her hands unsteady. The ink was faded but readable. The handwriting was neat, delicate. Emily whispered the words as she read. June 3rd, 1974. Father says the house is ours now. I don't like it here. It's too big, too dark. And that mirror, I see things in it. I don't think I'm alone. Emily's breath hitched. The mirror. She flipped further. The entries were short, rushed, like they had been written in fear. June 10th, 1974. I keep hearing whispers in the halls. Mother doesn't believe me. She says it's just the wind. But I know better. Something is watching me. I can feel it. Emily's pulse quickened. She turned the page. June 15th, 1974. I saw her today. In the mirror. She looks just like me. But she isn't me. She smiled at me when I didn't smile. I ran out of the room. Emily's fingers curled tightly around the diary. She saw her too. A chill crawled up her spine. She turned another page. June 20th, 1974. She spoke today. She said my name. She asked for help. I don't know what to do. What if she's trapped? What if she's me? Emily's chest tightened. This was impossible. She turned to the final entry. The handwriting was rushed, frantic. June 23rd, 1974. I made a mistake. I talked to her. I shouldn't have. She told me to touch the mirror. I did. Now I can't leave. If someone finds this, please, don't trust her. Emily's blood ran cold. The ink trailed off, the last word smeared. She could almost see Margaret, sitting in this very room, writing this in fear moments before. Before what? Before she disappeared? The realization hit Emily like ice. Margaret never left. Margaret was the girl in the mirror. A whisper slithered through the air. Emily. Emily snapped the diary shut. She wasn't alone. The air grew heavy, thick with something unseen. The temperature dropped. The candle she had placed on the desk flickered violently. The shadows in the room stretched, twisted. Emily's breath came out in short gasps. She had to get out. She shoved the diary into her pocket and turned to the door, but it slammed shut before she could reach it. Her scream caught in her throat. Then, the mirror. It stood across the room, tall and gleaming despite the dust. The candlelight cast strange shapes across its surface. Emily's heart pounded. Her reflection was there, but it wasn't moving. It just stood there, watching. Then it smiled. Emily's stomach dropped. No, she whispered, taking a step back. The reflection lifted a hand, even though Emily hadn't moved. And then a second figure appeared in the glass. A girl. Her hair was long and dark, her dress old-fashioned, tattered. Her eyes were hollow, pleading. Margaret. She pressed her hands against the glass. Emily, please, help me. Emily's breath caught in her throat. How do I help you? She whispered. Margaret's eyes flickered with desperation. The diary. You found it. Emily nodded slowly. Margaret's lips trembled. Then you know what happened. Emily's fingers curled into fists. You touched the mirror, and you got trapped. Margaret nodded. She tricked me. Emily's stomach twisted. She? Margaret's gaze darted behind Emily. She's watching. Emily whirled around, but no one was there. Margaret's voice dropped to a whisper. She doesn't like it when people know the truth. You have to leave. Before the candle went out. Emily's scream never left her lips. A cold hand clamped around her wrist and yanked her toward the mirror. Darkness swallowed her whole. Emily's pulse pounded in her ears as she tiptoed down the endless hallway. The strange noises grew louder. Soft whispers, faint creaking, the sound of a door trembling on its hinges. She stopped in front of it, the locked door. It was tall and old, the wood splintered with time. A strange symbol was carved into it, a jagged, twisting shape like a distorted eye. Emily swallowed hard. She pressed her ear to the wood. At first silence. Then, Emily. A voice. Faint. Fragile. Margaret. Emily's breath hitched. She gripped the handle and pulled. Locked. She tried again, rattling it harder. Come on, open, she whispered desperately. Nothing. A cold shiver crawled down her spine. She closed her eyes, took a shaky breath, and whispered the name. Margaret. The door unlocked. The latch clicked. The wood groaned. The door creaked open, on its own. Emily hesitated, heart hammering. Then she stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, the scent of something long forgotten. It was a nursery. Emily's stomach clenched. The walls were faded pink, peeling at the edges. A crib stood in the center, its wood cracked and splintered with age. A rocking chair creaked, moving, by itself. Emily froze. The chair rocked back and forth, slow and steady, as if someone unseen was sitting there. On a small dresser, something clicked open. A music box. The lid lifted without a hand to touch it. A soft, eerie lullaby began to play. Emily's breath came in short gasps. She took a step closer to the crib. And then she saw it. A mirror. It stood against the far wall, clouded with dust. But in its surface, Margaret. She sat on the floor, hugging her knees, her shoulders shaking. Tears streaked her pale face. Emily's heart ached. Margaret, she whispered. The girl in the mirror lifted her head. Her lips trembled. Why did you say my name? Emily blinked. I was trying to help you. Margaret's eyes filled with fear. You shouldn't have. Emily frowned. Why not? Margaret shook her head frantically. She heard you. Emily's chest tightened. Who? Margaret's gaze darted behind Emily. Emily's blood ran cold. She didn't want to turn, didn't want to see, but she felt it. The air shifted. The room grew colder. A breath, raspy, deep, right behind her. And then, a voice, low, growling, ancient. You should not be here. Emily's entire body locked in fear. The rocking chair slammed to a stop. The music box snapped shut. Her breath came in short, sharp gasps. Her heart pounded against her ribs. Slowly, so painfully slowly, she turned. A shadow loomed in the darkness. Tall, twisted, his form shifting, unnatural. Eyes deep, black pits. Emily stumbled backward. The figure lurched forward. Go back. Emily shook her head violently. No! Margaret pounded on the inside of the mirror. Emily, run! The shadow reached for her. Emily whirled around and bolted. Her hands fumbled for the door, but the nursery vanished. She stood in an endless black void. The shadow's voice boomed all around her. You said her name. You invited her back. Emily's lungs squeezed tight. What are you talking about? She cried. The shadow stretched, shifting into something worse. Longer arms, twisting fingers, a mouth too wide, teeth too sharp. You don't understand, child. The floor beneath Emily vanished. She plummeted, falling, falling. Darkness swallowed her whole. And then, she woke up, gasping, back in the dusty nursery. The door was wide open, but the mirror, Margaret was gone. The rocking chair creaked once more, and the music box began to play again. Soft, slow, a mocking lullaby. Emily whirled around. The room was silent. Still, the nursery door stood wide open, yet the hallway beyond was pitch black, as if the house itself had vanished. A chill slithered up her spine. Something was wrong. She turned toward the mirror, and her stomach dropped. It was no longer covered in dust, no longer cracked or cloudy. It had changed. Now it was pitch black, like a portal into nothingness. A void. Emily's breath hitched. Then, a faint whisper. Emily. Margaret. Emily's eyes darted to the mirror. Margaret was there, inside it. But she wasn't just standing there. She was being pulled back. The darkness wrapped around her like invisible hands, dragging her deeper into the abyss. "No!" Emily shouted, stepping forward. "Margaret!" Margaret's fingers clawed at the glass, her face twisted in terror. "Emily, don't!" A shadow emerged behind her. Emily's heart stopped. It was huge, a dark figure, shifting and twisting like smoke. And then, it opened its eyes, glowing, red eyes. Emily's pulse exploded. The shadow in the mirror turned toward her. It saw her, and it reached out. A blackened hand slammed against the glass from the inside, long, clawed fingers dragging downward. Emily stumbled backward. "No and oh!" A deep, guttural growl rumbled from within the mirror. Margaret screamed, "Don't let him take you too!" Emily's body jerked forward. A force, cold and invisible, wrapped around her chest, yanking her toward the mirror. Her feet scraped against the floor, but it was useless. The pull was too strong. The shadow's hand pushed through the glass. It was coming through. Emily's breath hitched in her throat. Her body tilted forward. Closer, closer, her reflection vanished into blackness. The mirror was swallowing her whole. "No, no, no, and oh!" Emily thrashed, her fingers clawing at the floor. The mirror shuddered. Margaret's screams echoed. Emily fought with everything she had. Then, she grabbed the rocking chair. With every ounce of strength, she threw it at the mirror. Crack! The glass shattered. The void rippled. The pull on Emily's body snapped. She collapsed to the floor, gasping. The air rushed back into her lungs. She looked up. The shadow was gone. The mirror was just a mirror again. Cracked, splintered, broken. Emily's head swam. Her hands trembled. It was over, wasn't it? She forced herself to her feet. Margaret. Emily's heart squeezed. She looked at the mirror. Margaret was nowhere to be seen. Emily's stomach twisted. Had she just left her in there? She swallowed hard. Then, a whisper. "Emily." Her breath caught. She turned and froze. The shadow was still there. But now, it was behind her, right in the reflection. Its glowing red eyes pierced into hers. And this time, it smiled. Emily screamed as the shadow's red eyes locked onto hers. It moved, fast, like a swirling mass of darkness. It slithered across the nursery floor, reaching for her with clawed hands. Emily stumbled back, her mind racing. Run! Her feet finally obeyed. She bolted out of the nursery and into the endless, dark hallways of the mansion. The whispers in the walls grew louder. "Emily! Stay! Join us!" A blast of icy wind roared down the corridor, slamming every door shut behind her. Emily's lungs burned. She rounded a corner, a dead end. "No, no, no!" she gasped, spinning around. The shadow was coming. It slithered closer, the walls trembling around it. Emily's hands clutched her head. Think. Then the diary. Margaret's diary had mentioned a way to break the curse. "I am trapped in the mirror, but there is a way to end it." What was it? The answer was the locket. Margaret's old locket was the key. Emily's heart hammered. But where was it? She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to remember Margaret's words from the diary. "It was the last thing I had, hidden where the music never stops." Emily's eyes snapped open. The music box. She had seen it before in the parlor downstairs. But to get there, she had to survive. She turned and ran. The hallway twisted and stretched before her, like the house itself was trying to trap her inside. The shadow howled. It lunged. Emily dodged left, barely avoiding its grasping claws. She burst through a door and found herself in the grand, dust-covered parlor. Her eyes darted wildly. Where was it? Then, there, a small wooden box sat on the fireplace mantel. The music box. Emily sprinted forward, her fingers trembling as she grabbed it. She flipped it over, a rusted keyhole. She pried at the lid. Locked. "No, no, no," she panted. A low, guttural laugh rumbled behind her. The shadow was here. Emily's body went cold. Her gaze darted around. She needed the key. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Where would Margaret hide a key? She ran her fingers over the box, then felt it. A tiny compartment at the bottom. Her nails dug in, pried it open. A small silver key fell into her palm. Emily's hands shook as she jammed it into the lock. The music box clicked open. Inside, a delicate golden locket. Emily's chest tightened. This was it. She lifted it. The house shuddered. A deafening crack split through the walls. The floor trembled. The shadow screeched. Emily flipped open the locket. Inside, a faded photograph. A young girl, Margaret, and behind her, the mirror. Emily's breath hitched. Etched inside the locket were 3 words. Say my name. Emily's fingers clenched around the locket. She knew what she had to do. She turned. The shadow loomed over her. Its red eyes burned. It lunged. Emily screamed. Margaret! The house exploded with light. The shadow shrieked. The walls shook. The mirror in the nursery shattered. A blinding flash swallowed the darkness. And then, silence. Emily's body collapsed to the floor. Her breath heaved. The air was still. The house was quiet. She looked at the locket. The photo was gone. Margaret was free. Emily's eyes filled with tears. She had won. But then, a whisper, faint, but unmistakable. Thank you, Emily. And with that, the shadow was gone. Forever. Emily's breath came in ragged gasps as she clutched Margaret's locket. The shadow loomed over her, its glowing red eyes burning into her soul. Give it to me? The shadow growled, its voice like nails on glass. Emily tightened her grip. No. A low, guttural laugh rumbled through the room. The mirror in the nursery pulsed, its black surface swirling like liquid ink. Margaret's reflection was still trapped inside, her wide eyes pleading. Emily, you have to break it. You have to say my name. The floorboards trembled beneath Emily's feet. The air crackled with unseen energy. The shadow lunged. Emily dodged, barely avoiding its clawed hands. She stumbled back, colliding with the rocking chair, which continued to move on its own. Her heart pounded against her ribs. She had to act now. She looked at the locket, the tiny inscription inside glinting under the dim light. Say my name. Emily sucked in a breath. Margaret! A sharp crack echoed through the nursery. The mirror trembled, cracks forming like lightning bolts across its surface. The shadow screamed. Stop! It bellowed, its voice shaking the walls. Emily stepped forward, determination hardening her voice. Margaret! 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 The mirror shattered. A brilliant white light erupted from within, engulfing the entire room. The shadow screeched in agony as its form began to dissolve, tendrils of darkness breaking apart like smoke in the wind. Emily shielded her eyes as the nursery shook violently. The whispers that had haunted the walls faded into nothingness. Then silence. Emily slowly opened her eyes. The room was still. Margaret was no longer in the mirror. Emily's gaze darted around. Margaret! A faint, golden glow appeared before her. Margaret stood there, her translucent form flickering like a candle in the wind. Tears welled in Emily's eyes. You're free. Margaret smiled, stepping closer. Because of you. The nursery, once eerie and abandoned, now felt peaceful. The rocking chair had stilled. The music box sat quietly on the shelf. Even the dust in the air seemed to have settled. Emily swallowed hard. What happens now? Margaret's glow brightened slightly. I can finally move on. A lump formed in Emily's throat. Will I ever see you again? Margaret hesitated before reaching out. Her fingers, barely more than shimmering light, brushed against Emily's cheek. A warmth spread through her, soothing, comforting. You'll always remember me, Margaret whispered, and I'll always be grateful. Emily fought back tears. I'm sorry you were trapped for so long. Margaret shook her head. It wasn't your fault. But now no one else will be taken. A golden glow surrounded her, growing brighter. Emily squinted as the light intensified, filling the room with warmth and peace. Then Margaret was gone. The nursery remained silent. Emily let out a slow breath, clutching the locket to her chest. The shadow was gone. Margaret was free. And the curse was finally broken. Chapter 9. Waking up, or not. Emily gasped and bolted upright in bed. Her heart pounded in her chest, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. She clutched at the blankets, trying to make sense of where she was. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting golden patches of light across her familiar bedroom. Her bookshelf, her desk, the posters on the wall, it was all there. Normal. Safe. She pressed a hand against her forehead. Was it just a dream? The house, the mirror, the shadow, had it all been in her head? She exhaled shakily and glanced around, her body still tense, expecting something unnatural. But there was nothing out of place. The air smelled of fresh laundry, not dust and decay. No eerie whispers crawled along the walls. No dark figures lurked in the corners. Emily let out a nervous laugh. Okay, I seriously need to stop watching horror movies before bed. Swinging her legs over the side of the bed, she ran a hand through her hair. Everything felt so real, though. The fear, the chase, Margaret. Something cold brushed against her wrist. She frowned and looked down. A small, delicate locket dangled from her fingers. Emily's stomach dropped. She hadn't owned a locket before. She knew that for a fact. And yet, here it was. Her hands trembled as she carefully opened it. Inside, there was a faded photograph of a young girl with soft curls and sad eyes. Margaret. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Her eyes darted around the room again, her skin prickling with unease. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it had always been there, and she had just forgotten? Then she saw it. In the corner of the room. Her mirror. The glass was cracked. A jagged line ran down its surface, splintering the reflection into uneven, distorted pieces. Emily's throat tightened. She could have sworn it hadn't been broken before. She forced herself to stand, her legs unsteady as she took a cautious step toward it. The reflection stared back at her. Just her. Nothing unusual. Nothing strange. Nothing. A whisper brushed against her ear, so soft she almost thought she imagined it. Thank you. Emily froze. Her blood turned to ice. She spun around. No one was there. The room was silent, completely still. But the locket in her hand felt colder than ever. And in the mirror, for just a split second, she thought she saw something move behind her.